Hey everyone, welcome to another top 10 list. This week's top 10 is going to be about a particular series that I just recently got a book for. That's right, National Banknotes. National Banknotes came out in three different series, three different 20-year spans, and this week's top 10 list is going to be the top 10 national banknotes from the first series. I'm just going by denominations, so you're going to be able to see all the different versions, but when I got this book, National Banknotes, this is the 6th edition by Don Kelly, I was blown away just reading some of the stuff that's in here, so I'm sure you're going to see a lot more lists from me regarding national banknotes in particular. Fascinating book. I'll do a full book review on this as well. But we're going to start off with just the national banknotes in and of themselves. They do have a brief little introduction here. National Banknotes, Hometown Paper Money. It says right here, on February 25th, 1863, Abraham Lincoln signed legislation entitled An Act to Provide a National Currency, secured by a pledge of United States stocks, and to provide for the circulation and redemption thereof. This act, which became known as the National Currency Act, provided for the establishment of the national banks and the currency which forms the main subject of this guide. Collectors use the term national banknotes or simply nationals to refer to the notes circulated by national banks. National banknotes were issued by over 12,000 banks between 1863 and 1935. So that is just a brief, very brief summary of national banknotes, and of course you can see some of them right there on the cover. The book itself is just fascinating, with tons of lists of every single one of those 12,000 banks, how they're broken up, how the notes were printed, estimated prints and estimated outstanding notes, as far as how many were not turned in afterwards. Just an incredible resource, this particular book. And like I said, I'll be going through this and doing a full-blown book review on this in the upcoming weeks. But for this week, we are talking about the first series. Like I said, there are three series. So, number 10 on this list, trying to get all my stuff in order. Number 10 is, well, like I said, these are all the first series. The first series were definitely called the 1875 series. This is the $1 1875. This is a replica that I've got. This one was known as the Ace, the $1 note. You can see here it features Concordia is what's considered here, this image there. And on the back of the note, taking a look at that, that is the landing of the Pilgrims. Now, this is a very familiar image that was used over and over again. Landing of the Pilgrims. You're going to see this on a lot of $5 notes when you start getting into, I want to say more modern, but you're still talking notes in the late 1800s, early 1900s. So that would be the landing on the Pilgrims. Now, the Ace note in the first series, what is cool about these particular notes is these are, like I said, national bank notes. So this particular one represents the German National Bank of Covington, and when you see that, you know exactly which bank it is essentially drawn from, or which bank is guaranteeing it. You can see that it's got the 187 here. That is the charter number for that particular bank, and then it has a serial number here on the side. On the back of the note, the backs of these nationals are pretty cool, because aside from having the really cool picture and the inscriptions on them, which are a mouthful to read, you have the seal of the United States, the eagle representing the U.S. You can see that on there nice and clear. But the other side was also the seal of the particular state. So that was kind of interesting. And every note, depending on which state it was from, shows a different scene right there. So that's number 10 on my list, the $1 Ace from 1875. You can actually see 1875 right there. And like I said, this one is just a replica. I chose this one because I do have just about every single one, so that would make it nice and easy. Number 9, the Lazy Deuce. The Lazy Deuce, this one, like I said, from the series of 1875, you can see that right there. The Lazy Deuce called so because they drew the 2 sideways. Looks like the 2 is taking a nap laying on its side. And the imagery over here was known as just simply stars and stripes. And the back is, this is what do they call this one here? Sir Walter Raleigh exhibiting corn and tobacco. That is the that is the title that's on there. Now, once again, you can see on the back they did use that eagle representing the U.S. And this note here, being La Crosse National Bank, that's in Wisconsin. So if I was to look on the back, I know I'm going to see a very familiar sign. That's actually what's on the center of the flag of the state of Wisconsin. So I'm familiar with that because I live in Wisconsin. So that's the Lazy Deuce, number 9 on my list. Number 8 from the 1875 series would be the $5 note. The $5 note from the 1875 series, this one here from Walla Walla, Washington. And as a kid, actually, it's not even a state yet. Walla Walla, territory of Washington. That's kind of cool there. As far as the depictions on it, they are entitled the first, let's see, where is it? Well, this was actually, the $5 note was actually the first note issued. This was the first national bank note issued. The back has a handwritten notations. Where is it? Trying to see where it is on here. They're talking about the very first note in this book. The very first one of these had a handwritten notation by Samuel P. Chase, who wrote the first national bank note issued, SPC. That was what he carried around in his pocket with him the entire time. So yeah, the $5 note, the first note ever printed, according to the book that I've got here, that is number 8 on my list. Wish they'd put the title of the picture in that book. I am cheating a little bit going by what it says here. You can see the first national bank note issued. The back had a handwritten notation by Samuel P. Chase, who carried the note as a pocket piece. It reads, first national bank note issued, SPC. So yeah, cool stuff. Number 7 on my list. And like I said, I brought out the replicas rather than just showing you pictures in a book. Don't worry, we'll actually get to the book soon enough because I have almost all of them. Number 7, going to the $10 note. $10 note, this one here from Columbus, Ohio. $10 note, you can see it's got the number over here. That's the charter number 2423. And of course, in red, you can still make out series of 1875. Now, this particular note is Franklin and electricity and America seizing lightning. So Franklin and electricity, you can see Benjamin Franklin. There's the kite with electricity, the key on the string, which I've heard is actually a myth, because if he had actually done this and the lightning struck, of course he would have been dead. Then the other half there is America sees, or Franklin. No, that was Franklin and electricity and America seizing lightning. So yes, grabbing the lightning bolt here. And on the back, we have DeSoto discovering the Mississippi. That's what's pictured on the back. And like you can see, once again, it does have the eagle for the U.S. And this particular vignette over here is for the state of Ohio, because this particular note, like I said, Columbus, Ohio. That's number 7. Number 6 on the list, getting bigger. This is the $20 note. The $20 note, series of 1875, of course. Now, this is actually the same designation that was used in the second series as well, this particular image right here. I know that this is the Battle of Lexington, if I remember right. I didn't even have to look at that one. Yep, Battle of Lexington, and this is considered loyalty. That's on this side. This particular one, Tom's River from New Jersey. Now, some of the other things I haven't really pointed out on these are all the different signatures, because of course you're going to have the signature of the treasurer of the different banks, and you're also going to have here's Burke as well. So you've got the treasurer of the United States signature on the bill as well. Flipping it over on the back of this one is the baptism of Pocahontas. So yeah, one of the first times that an actual woman, a real woman, was ever featured on a bill right there. Standard U.S. eagle on this side, and of course this side here is from the state. Which state did we decide this one was? New Jersey. So if you're from New Jersey, that picture may look a little familiar to you. Baptizing of Pocahontas. Interesting. All right, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Number 5. That was the 20, so now we're going to go to the 50. The $50 bill from the 1875 set. This particular one is from Villisca, which is in Iowa. Villisca, this is the $50 note, the national currency. And this features Washington crossing the Delaware. Right here is Washington crossing the Delaware. Quarter just came out with that, didn't it? And the other side, we've got Washington at prayer at Valley Forge. So yeah, there's a picture of Washington that we're not used to seeing. Right there. He doesn't have his standard white hair like we're always picturing him at. That's when he was a little younger. So yeah, that one's pretty cool. And of course, like I said, this one being Iowa, if we flip it over on the back, you're going to get the U.S., you're going to get Iowa right there. And the picture in the center, that is depicting the embarkation. Is that what that is? No, that's not it. Embarkation of the Pilgrims is what it says. So that is them praying on one of the ships. And that is number 5, 98765. Number 4. Get into the bigger denominations. These are the ones that are tougher to see. This is the $100 note. The $100 note, this one's from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Fairly low number, 538. The $100 note, this features the Battle of Lake Erie on this side. Battle of Lake Erie, right there. You can see the ships right there. And this would be on this side, just represents the Union. You can see the Union right there. And if we take a peek at the back, this is the presentation of the Declaration of Independence. Now, this picture may look familiar to a lot of you because this is the same picture that is currently on our $2 bill. So yeah, the first time that it was ever out there was on this note right here. So that's a very, very famous portrait, considering that it was on the very first issue of National Notes. Like I said, 1875. There it is, and you can see it today on a $2 bill. So that is number 4, 10987654. Number 3. Number 3, I got to bust out the book. Right here is number 3. This particular one is the $500 note, and you can see this one is from Boston, Massachusetts. And it pictures, as I zoom in here, well, it says civilization on one side and arrival of the Sirius ship on the other side. Let's see if I can get that to stay in focus there. $500 Boston, and if we take a peek at the back, surrender of Burgoyne to Gates. And there's, of course, the U.S. section and the part for Pennsylvania right over here as well. So once again, a note that you don't get to see too often. Very few of these still exist. Those that do are ridiculously expensive. Number 2 on my list. Number 2, we are going with the $1,000 note. This features General Scott's entrance into Mexico City. So here's General Scott and his troops entering Mexico City. We've got our capital there. And the back of this note features Washington resigning his commission. Washington resigning his commission. It's interesting how some people will relinquish their power when their time is done. Washington resigning his commission on the back there. Now, this is New York, so you've got the New York seal here. You've got the U.S. right there. That is the $1,000 note, and that is number 2. And that is actually the biggest note that they made. So what did I hold off with for number 1, if that was all the notes? Well, I don't have very many of these notes for real. That's why I've got the replicas. But I do have number 1 on my list, which is an actual Lazy Deuce. Yes, this is from 1875, the Lazy Deuce. This one has been graded 8. I am quite proud of this particular one. This is from one of the early printings. You can see right here, where is it? The charter number, 1472. So it was actually basically the second year of charter numbers, if I recall correctly. And they still hadn't put the charter numbers on at that particular time. It was the following year that they started including the charter numbers themselves on the note. Now, you'll notice that there's a serial number here. This particular one says 10671. And there's also a serial number on this side, which I can flip this way. and you'll see that's A751835. Why are there two different numbers? Well, this number represents the number of the bill from this particular bank being the American National Bank of Providence, Rhode Island. So that is this number. This number here represents the number of this bill from this bank. This number on the side represents the overall number as far as the total number of notes printed. And as you can see on this one, take a peek at the back on this here. Once again, the real deal. You've got the US logo there. Here's Rhode Island. And yeah, this one, Colby spinner and repaired, overprint, redrawn. So it's not perfect, but it is still one of the actual notes from the series rather than an actual replica. The only one I've got from the series, so I figured I'll make this one number one just so you can see the real thing compared to the replicas. All right, guys, that's what I've got for you this week. Like I said, I'm going to be doing some more top 10 lists featuring a lot more national stuff, because this is a fascinating book and a fascinating group of notes to collect. So hope you guys look forward to it. I'll see you again next week.